And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and now that we have settled into ships a little bit, everybody's got their favorite fleet commander, and they're figuring out the synergies of the ships that they have unlocked with the ships that they have. I wanted to have a little bit of fun and look at the previously data mined information. Now, first off, I want to say this is dreaming. This doesn't mean that this is going to happen. This data mined information can and will often change. What that means is that this was information that was found within the game, but often these things are shelved and or they're changed. That often happens. So this was information that was in there, but again, anytime could change at the push of a button. So take all of this with just a grain of salt, but I thought we'd go through it and have a little bit of fun looking at the possibilities of what could come out. So the Sakic, and I'm sure I've pronounced that wrong, is going to be a fleet. It's going to be another capital ship. The fleet commander for the capital ship would most likely be Newt Gunray. He's the most likely for that ship. His basic ability, Fire Away, will deal physical damage to all enemies and inflict evasion down for 2 turns on the target enemy. Special ability, the first one would be Ion Blaster. It would deal physical damage to a target enemy and inflict tenacity down for 2 turns. If that unit already had a debuff, it would stun in addition to. So if you targeted the first ability as a basic and gave him evasion down for a couple turns and then use the Ion Blaster, you're going to give him tenacity down and stun them as well. So that's pretty cool. Ability 2, special ability 2, Swarming Defense. Allies with protection taunt for 1 turn, and allies without protection recover protection 15%, and then that ability would start on cooldown. So that's pretty cool. That's a way to keep people who are damaged. It's kind of like an equalizing of the damage. People who have protection would taunt, people who don't have protection would gain it. So that's really cool. This particular ship, by the way, says that it kind of starts slowly but gradually sets up an unstoppable fleet. So I'm guessing that this ruthless efficiency and unique ability takes some time to happen, just like the Endurance has that 15 turn cooldown. It would be something probably crazy like that. So the third special ability, Ruthless Efficiency, it says all allies are going to gain plus 10 offense, plus 10 defense, plus 10 speed, critical chance, tenacity, potency for the rest of the battle, and ability block the enemy commander. That is insanity. It says this ability starts on cooldown and would stack with all of the other bonuses that you can get. It says Ruthless Efficiency says all allies have increased offense, defense, speed, critical chance, tenacity, and potency, which it's stacking. So Ruthless Efficiency is actually the special ability. That's the third one. So the unique ability then, which is called War Marches On, would be at the end of each ally's turn. This ship's cooldowns would be reduced by 1 if an ally inflicted a debuff that turn. So ships like Darth Vader's ship or even Rex's ship with or the First Order TIE Pilot, anybody that inflicts, that possible debuff on the beginning is going to reduce the cooldown. So just like you can reduce the cooldown on your Endurance ship, you could reduce the cooldown on this ship as well. And then a reinforcement bonus, when they come in as a reinforcement, the ship would gain 30% turn meter, which would be speeding the ship up. That's pretty cool. Kylo Ren obviously would need a rework, more than likely, before this happened, because Kylo Ren's character in the game is subpar, although this might be what they use to make him relevant again. And his command shuttle would probably have 3 crew. They don't know who would be with him, but it would be 3 characters. The description of it was a menacing First Order support with unparalleled ability to manipulate allied turn meter. So that's pretty cool. Basic ability, Defensive Fire. It would deal physical damage to a target enemy and gain protection up for 2 turns. That's 30%. Special ability 1, Surprise Raid. Target ally would gain 100% turn meter and advantage up for 1 turn. So they're going to get an extra turn and guaranteed crit. That is pretty cool. And their cooldowns would be reduced by 2, which for a lot of the ship's abilities is essentially a do-over on any other abilities. Very few of them have a cooldown longer than 3, so that's pretty amazing that you would reduce those by 2. That's pretty awesome. The only downside to Surprise Raid, other than getting an extra turn advantage, which is guaranteed crits, and the guaranteed cooldowns reduced by 2, is they lose some protection, but it's only 25%. Now, special ability 2 would be called Strike Team. Target ally would lose all turn meter but all allies would then gain 30% turn meter plus half of the turn meter that the ally lost. So it's basically taking from one and giving to all the others, just making 4 of your ships really, really fast while making one ship slow. So if you have that tank you really don't care about, but he's about to go, you could use this, pull the turn meter from that character you don't care about and give it to the other ships. So that is a pretty cool ability. The third one's called Advanced Jamming Array. It dispels all buffs on target enemy. Now this is the second, well actually the third ship that I know of that really would consistently be able to do this, dispel. It's important, especially when you go up against a tank ship, that you're able to dispel that so you can target the specific ships that you want to target. And it says it has a 70% chance to remove 30% turn meter and inflict healing immunity for 2 turns. That would be excellent with ships because, as we know, there's tons of ships that can give back protection, such as Jedi Consular or Rex. They can give their team their turn or their protection back. So this would kind of help prevent that. So that's pretty cool. And then a unique ability, it's called Zeal of the First Order. Kylo Ren's command shuttle has plus 30% or plus 30 speed while it has protection and 40% counter chance while it doesn't. So while he has protection, he's going to be lightning fast and going crazy. And when he gets into that where he loses his protection, all of a sudden now he's got this massive counter chance where he's countering almost half of the time. That's pretty awesome. There's a Hyena Bomber droid. There's actually no crew for it, or at least there wasn't any in this data mine. The description is that it would be a separatist droid fighter that would deploy massive attacks against all enemies and is piloted automatically. There's 3 abilities, a basic, special, and unique. The basic, Unison Strike, would deal physical damage to a target enemy with an additional 15% chance of a critical hit. Now, if the target you're going against has target lock, you'd get a call and assist. If it's a separatist, both of them will deal an additional 35% more damage. Awesome. That would be really, really, really cool. Now, his special ability, Heavy Ordnance, would deal physical damage to all enemies with an additional 15% chance of a critical hit and daze enemies on a critical hit. That's crazy because it's going to bump up the chance that you're going to give a crit, and then when you crit, you daze them, which is going to prevent them from getting all that extra turn meter and using their special abilities. That's pretty cool. The unique ability is called Advanced Photoreceptors. At the start of each turn, Hyena Bomber Droid would have a 70% chance to inflict target lock on a random enemy until the end of turn, and it cannot be resisted. That's just its unique ability. So that is really, really cool. So at the beginning of his turn, 70% chance he's going to inflict target lock on somebody's ship, and it cannot be resisted, which means that anytime he uses his basic, more than likely whoever he's going to target will have target lock, and means he's going to call an assist. So this is going to call in a ridiculous number of assists. The next is called Droid Starfighter. There's unknown if there'll be a crew or not. The description is a simple but persistent separatist fighter that's always replaced when defeated. The basic ability is essentially called Drone Attack. It just deals physical damage to a target enemy. Doesn't seem like it's super amazing, but this is a never-ending ship. It never dies. It just comes back to life, comes back to life, comes back to life. We'll get to that. The special ability, Buzz Droid Missile, would deal physical damage to a target enemy and inflict dots, damage over times, for 5 turns. That's pretty crazy. That means it's just going to persistently give damage over time as it hits people. Now, the last one, which is really, really cool, is a unique ability. Whenever, it's called Endless Waves, whenever the Droid Starfighter is defeated, its capital ship gains turn meter 30%, and then another new Droid Starfighter is added to your reserves. So it never really dies. It just keeps coming back over and over and over again. Now, this one is going to excite a lot of people. Jedi Knight Anakin's Starfighter, of course, JKA himself would pilot this, and it would make sense for him to have his own ship, since in Clone Wars he obviously did that throughout the entire 6 seasons. A mighty Jedi fighter that can dominate the battlefield, keeping all enemies target locked. So this is kind of the light side's version of Darth Vader's ship in that sense. As far as the basic ability, it's called Lead from the Front. It deals physical damage to a target enemy with a 70% chance to gain offense up for 2 turns. So that's a pretty good chance that he's going to get offense up. Now, target lock, if they have target lock on them and he hits them, it's going to grant another random ally offense up for 2 turns. So this is going to basically increase the hitting effectiveness of your entire team as he continually on his basic bumps himself up and other people up with their offense. His special ability, Guided by the Force, will deal physical damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to inflict target lock for 2 turns. This means he hits everybody and gives everybody across the board target lock. That is absolutely crazy. And it says also inflict an additional target lock for 2 turns on each critically hit target. So he's going to, the way I read this, he's going to basically do an AoE, hit everybody, and on any crits, he's going to target lock plus the target he's going to target lock. So potentially, like I said, he could basically hit everybody and target lock everybody if he's critting, which is awesome. His unique ability, Unyielding Assault, whenever a unit gains target lock, he gains turn meter. So if he potentially critted and hit everybody with a crit and everybody got target lock, he get 50% turn meter. That's pretty awesome. Yoda's Jedi Starfighter would obviously be flown by Yoda. It says it's a focused Jedi fighter that gains foresight, which would be the second ship to essentially have that, and can ability block enemy fleet commanders. That'd be the first time a ship would be introduced that could block the ship commanders. That would be really cool. So the first basic ability is called Precision Strike. It would deal physical damage to a target enemy with a 70% chance to gain foresight for 2 turns, and if, of course, it was hitting a target locked ship, you'd be gaining foresight, a random ally foresight for 2 turns as well. So that's really cool. His special ability, Guided by the Force, says that his starfighter and target ally, which means you get to target whichever one you want, would gain advantage and foresight for 2 turns and get turn meter. That just seems like it would be an okay ability. Speed up a couple of your ships plus give them foresight and advantage. So they're going to hit guaranteed crits and not get hit themselves. And then the last special ability, Focus, would give all allies offense up for 2 turns and a 50% chance to inflict daze on all the enemies. That would prevent them. This would be an excellent ship to use to go against Admiral Akbar because of all the additional chaining of attacks and all the bonus attacks and things like that. Or if you're going against the Separatists, because Separatists have a ton of abilities to have bonus attacks. This would be really, really cool. So dazing them, preventing them from getting that bonus, those bonus attacks. If Yoda's Starfighter has foresight, it also, which more than likely he will, because his basic gives him that as well as his special, he would have a 50% chance to ability block the enemy commander for 1 turn, which is really going to throw a wrench in the fight for sure when they're hoping for that one special ability to end the battle. So TIE Bomber, unknown for crew, unknown for description. His basic ability was called Concussion Missiles. It would deal physical damage to a target enemy. Target lock would say that it would give 75% chance to stun that target. So that's great. Just like Sunfac, if they have a buff, Sunfac's ship stuns them. This would be if they had target lock. There's more than likely a chance they would get stunned. So that's pretty cool. The second one, Bombing Run, would deal physical damage to all enemies and inflict speed down for 2 turns. Now, the third ability, Rearm, would reduce Bombing Run's remaining cooldown by 4, gain 50% turn meter, and dispel any offense down or critical chance down buffs from the TIE Bomber. That's pretty cool. The Bombing Run that deals physical damage to all enemies and inflicts speed down must do a ton of AoE damage. I'm guessing this is going to be as powerful or more powerful than the other ships that do AoE damage in the game currently, because the special ability 2, Rearm, is really set up to set Bombing Run up to be most effective and to be able to go over and over with Bombing Run. So that's interesting. The Vulture Droid, it's called a simple but persistent Separatist fighter that would always be replaced when defeated. Again, this is crazy. Basic ability is it will deal physical damage to a target enemy. It would have what's called the Buzz Droid Missile, which would deal physical damage to an enemy and inflict the dots or damage over time for 5 turns. It has endless waves. I actually think we read the Vulture Droid is the same as the Droid Starfighter. It has the exact same abilities, endless waves, buzz, droid missiles. So it's got a couple of names. Like I said, take all of this with a grain of salt. A lot of this could probably be tossed. Some of it won't be. Some of it possibly will be worked in. And then Xanadu Blood would be ran by Cad Bane. Now that would be really cool. There's a lot of people that are loyalists and have Cad Bane, and others who just know he's not as good in the game as he could be, so they haven't farmed him. This would definitely breathe new life into Cad. His basic harrowing blasts would deal physical damage to a target enemy, and on a critical hit it would inflict target lock for 2 turns. If they're target locked, it would attack again, dealing 30% less damage. Special ability Calculated Strike would deal physical damage to a target enemy, refresh the cooldown of this ability if the target is destroyed, and if they're target locked, it would dispel all status effects on the target and deal 40% more damage for each effect dispelled. This Cad Bane ship is equivalent to the Boba Fett of today, the reworked Boba Fett, where they remove all buffs, positive and negative, and then do additional damage. But this is 40% additional damage for each effect dispelled. That special ability, Calculated Strike, will probably be one of the most effective attacks in the ships when it's brought out, if it's ever brought out. And then Cloaked Intent is a unique where Xanadu Blood has a plus 25% critical chance and plus 20% speed. That is awesome. At the beginning of each ally or enemy ship's turns, if Xanadu Blood didn't attack that ship on its previous turn, Xanadu Blood gains stealth for 1 turn. This effect is doubled if Xanadu Blood is debuffed. So, or it's disabled if he's debuffed. So he gets basically, as long as he's not debuffed, he has the ability to gain stealth for 1 turn if he didn't attack that particular ship that he's targeting. So as long as he's targeting new people each turn, he's going to continue to give himself stealth. And in addition to that, he gets 25% critical chance and speed, unless he starts targeting the same ship over and over, or unless he's debuffed. And then it says also as the bonus, scrapped idea of X-Wing's Wedge's X-Wing. This was what they were going to do for Wedge's X-Wing. Anyway, Cap Gasp obviously said, like I told you guys, this is Datamite info. Take it with a grain of salt. During the course of development, they shelf lots of this stuff. But I thought it would be really fun just to go through, now that we know a little bit more about ships, how they function, how they operate, to go back and revisit some of these cool ships, because who knows, maybe very soon one of these ships will make their way in. Why don't you guys leave in the comments down below which ship you think will make it into the game and which one makes you happiest the most. For me, it's going to be Cad Bane and his Xanadu Blood. I think that sounds amazing. I think his ship is needed in the game, and I really hope that they bring this into the game. But there's my favorite. As always, have yourselves